Guys, I think this is a first for me. Can you hear me now? I'm going to wait and see if anybody gives me a thumbs up. I'm taking it Alan's ta-da means yes. Well, this is absolutely crazy, guys. I have been talking till my vocal cords were turning purple for the last 25 minutes. I started 10 minutes early. And apparently I was just talking to myself, which I do all day, every day. I had the live stream on, and the analytics were blank. I have no idea what it was that was going on, but I'm very embarrassed. And I hope nobody left, but I'm quite sure that most of you did. But anyway, I'm never going to ever get back through everything I just said. I'll try, though. I'll try. I said hello to everybody, down to the point where I read the message that said, Art said, well, I can't see him. And I very helpfully told Art to open his eyes, but apparently nope. And then my phone rang, and it was Susan, one of my board members, to tell me, I'm sure, that I wasn't on the thingamajig. And if Walter Budd hadn't called, I don't know, I just kept going. So, boy, that's embarrassing. I was talking to Stewart directly about how inspirational his channel is. I was explaining that a bunch of my people have been asking about where to get spiders, and I've referred them all to Stewart's channel. A bunch of other chit chat amongst macro photographers there. And then said hi to everybody, and answered Lance's question about do I ever take pictures of insects in alcohol, and I told him no, I always get out of the alcohol before I take the pictures. Then I showed you 3 DIY projects that I'm working on. A 7 degree of freedom macro positioning system, which involves breaking apart a microscope and just, I'm not going to go through it again, honestly. It was exhausting because I was gesticulating the whole time. Then I was showing the bell that I used to identify contenders in the photo competition. I am motorizing it to make an absolutely awful sound. So if you don't want me to finish this project, you have to click on the square with the money symbol in it and leave a tip. If I can make enough tips, then I'll have enough money to go do something fun, and I won't build the bell. Okay? So that, I mean, it's up to you. But don't say you weren't warned. The next competition will be tiresome, I'm sure. What was the third thing? I showed you how to pry the tiny stepper motors out of a DVD Blu-ray player. And then I was showing you all the teensy wincy little stepper motors that are in there. These things are motors and worm gears that move the little tiny lens that focuses the laser beam on the disc. These are the ones we're going after, these bigger ones. But yeah, so I showed you how we're going to put all this together to give an X, a Y, a Z, an R axis on top of a microscope base, and how I was going to gear all that up with a bigger stepper motor. So I'll just make a video of it because it's just it was fun. I've told all kinds of jokes while I was doing it as well. Oh dear. Does anybody use the clone stamp tool when you're in Photoshop? Of course you do. That's what everybody uses. Do you ever get frustrated using the keyboard, your shortcuts, because you hit a key other than the Option key when you're trying to source something for your for your edit? You know what I did, and it just occurred to me because I found them in my drawer this morning. I bought some of these little sticky plastic things for a. It was actually for my daughter who was babysitting, and she wanted these to take to the kids, but they didn't earn any because they were so bad. So she brought them all back and gave them to me. But I discovered that they're very sticky. And if you just take a medium-sized one and stick it on your Option key, you'll never lose your Option key again. And that's what I do. I just take one of these medium-sized ones and just put it on the Option key. I also had one on the Delete key because the new MacBook has the Delete keys in a slightly different place. And I keep hitting the power off button. But anyway, you can do that if you're an absolutely hopeless typist like I am. If you're a good typist, don't worry about it. But anyway, where was I? Questions. Last week, I didn't get to all the questions because there were many of them. This week, I will stay on this live stream until the questions are answered. I promise that, because of the rocky start there. Yeah, I'll stay till the end. But subsequently to this, I figured out a way to gather your questions up before I leave, and before the program cuts me off, because they disappear eventually. And I will get them all answered in the comments below the stream. Okay, all right. So, Stewart, you said you'd sent me an email. I did not get it, but then again, I didn't get any emails for the last 6 months. I'm 20,000 emails behind, but now I know that you have emailed me. I made a note, and I will find the email and respond to it. Graham, I said to you, yes, please. I would very much like to see maybe a picture or two of the vertical rig, but plan on, if you can be there on the 21st at the Patreon gathering, lay us out the plans and let us see what you've got and how it's working. I can't wait to see it. I really can't. I then talked about Bud's comment about getting a Raynox DCR 250. The DCR 250 is a shorter focal length diopter than the DCR 150. And when used at short focus in conjunction with a Mitutoyo infinity corrected microscope objective, it gives astonishingly sharp pictures at lower magnification. But the reason that Bud ordered the 250 is because of some feedback I got from Rick Littlefield, who recently retested this lens, only to discover that using it in the forward orientation is markedly sharper and higher image quality than using it in reverse. That is a complete break with the standard belief about that lens. So I'm going to do a video on it in the near future. But if you don't have a DCR 250, but you are a microscope objective using type of person, then you probably want to get one. That you definitely want to get one, I would say. Okay, so I also said hi to everybody. I'll do it again. David, Lance, Ploddles, and yes, indeedy. I really made the comment to Stewart that the live stream until today, when it screwed up, it is absolutely my favorite time of the week. It's my favorite thing that I do on the channel. Mainly because we can cover a lot of ground quickly. We can answer questions, get people back on the right track, and also just connect with the people that are watching my stuff. There's plenty of time to do videos, and I've got 400 videos that you can go watch. But if you just want to interact and ask a quick question, this is a much better forum for that. Nobody wants to watch an hour-long video to get an answer to a question. So Yeah, if you I know you've done it in the past because I've seen your live stream, Stuart. So yeah, I hope you do start it again. It's just tremendous fun. All righty, Phil, welcome. And let's see if there's any other questions that I answered earlier, so I can make sure I get them done. Lee, welcome from Wales. Jim in Washington. I hear the weather's gone weird up there too. My friend in Los Angeles was telling me that it's rained biblically for a month and they never get any rain there. Well, they do now, apparently. Slavek, greetings from Poland. Glad to have you here. And this was where I noticed that Walter couldn't see me. So, Walter, thank you. If it had not been for you, you still wouldn't see me. Question, when you buy an ITL 200, I answered that one already, so we'll go on. No sound, no sound. Greetings from Thomas. Greetings to Thomas, Switzerland. I have a surprisingly large number of viewers in Switzerland. It's a lovely country, that. I love it. Laura, welcome. I hope you're well and ready for your travels. Great. And, well, you guys were just chatting back and forth there. You know, Tom said I was tardy. I wasn't tardy. I was incompetent, but I was early. I was early and incompetent, but anyway, yeah, it wasn't the storm. There is a bad-looking storm brewing out there, but that wasn't what it was. It was just me. All right. Daniel was talking about seeing a Macro Talk 2. That's this. So you probably saw it from last week. Or have I screwed up the date on that too? Who knows? All right, Eric. Don't speak Dutch. Don't speak Dutch, Eric. I won't understand a word of it. And a question. Oh, no, it's Ploddles telling people how to ask a question. Yeah, highlight my name. That's the way you do it. Susan, thanks for trying to call me. And I really appreciate your concern about the storm, guys. That it's going to be storming something horrible, but it isn't now. Interestingly, for the first time since I got everything stable here with the internet, I had a blip in the matrix on Tuesday night. I had a very brief period where my connection dropped. Don't know why. So it's a little concerning, but it might be weather related. Okay, questions, guys. Bring them on, because otherwise I'm going to run out of time to get them answered. Last week, the questions all piled in towards the end, and I couldn't get to them all. Eric, you're in between Cahors and Monobarn. That sounds like one of those parables. Okay, Lee, done your first stack with Zerine today. Had my stacks on the one computer and following you on my other computer, all fine till it came to save. Well, you can't just stop there. What happened then? You didn't save it, you couldn't save it, or you don't know where it went. I bet you don't know where it went. That is not uncommon. Can I show you what I'm talking about? I will show you what I'm talking about. I will also move that down. Okay, so this is, I was going to talk about weevil noses anyway, but this is Lightroom. If I had just finished a stack in Zerine, let me see, I don't, this is one of Rick's pictures, a high magnification shot of weevil skin. You know what? I could try to save this. No, there isn't an output image to save. But if I did, so Lee, this is for you. You get through making your images, and you hit save, hang on, let me see if one of my other Lightroom instances is still open. No, they're all closed. So you would go to File, Save Output Image, and then Save. Over here it would open up. And then once you'd saved it by clicking on two boxes that pop up, two windows that pop up, you would then close Xerene Stacker, or I do anyway. I go to Xerene. This is a stereo pair, by the way, amazing picture. You go to Quit and it's gone. Now, you come back to Lightroom and the folder that your stack was in is still there, and all of the images that were stacked are still there, but the finished image is not there. Where is it? Okay, well, to do that, you have to synchronize the folder. It is not automatically put back in the same folder. So what you have to do is this. Go to Library, Module, then go over to the folder that you were in, whatever folder that might be, and then go to Library and Synchronize Folder. It'll do a count, and it'll usually say import now 1 photo or 4 photos, or if you did a slabbing procedure, it'll be a bunch of photos, and you just click synchronize, and it will bring into this window all of the new images that are the output from Xerene. Then if you go to the main folder, they will be in there where they belong. They'll be in with the stacked images. And that's all there is to it, but you have to remember that. Weevil noses. I'm going to cancel that. Weevil noses. This is the tip of a weevil nose, and this is its mandible. It's all of its mouth parts. Its mandible, its maxilla, its what do you call it? Palps, and its sensors and everything that normally belong in an insect's mouth are at the end of its nose. And it is an amazing structure. This is one particular. This is this weevil. One of my. Well, no, I'll show you this weevil in a second, but it's just a gorgeous weevil, and it's got the strangest mouth parts. But just today, I found another weevil that has even, it was today, hang on. I found another weevil with even stranger mouth parts. If you don't believe I shoot to the left on my stacks, this should prove it. They all look like black frames, but they're not, I assure you. So, yeah, I just shot this stack here. Let me find the output. All very dark. This is what I did with this folder, was I did the synchronize, and I can't remember where it put it, but it's a completely different kind of nose. It's a instead of having its ripping teeth going side to side, they go up and down, and it's a pretty picture. I just I can't find it. Not to worry, I'll put it in. I'll post it somewhere later. Yeah, can't find it. Not to worry. This is a record player needle that I found. It's old, 60 years old or something, but it's still got the diamond on the end of it. Isn't that amazing? All right, let me do a little bit of shifting around of that. So where was I? I was answering a question. Okay. Been over that stuff. And then ta-da from Allan when we came back online. Great. Okay. Great. And he's alive. Yes, I am alive. And now I'm going to show you something. Look what just happened here. This popped up on my screen saying, YouTube is not receiving enough video to maintain smooth streaming. This is what happened the other day. But my numbers look fine. This computer stuff, you know, it's you're kind of stuck with it, but it does frustrate. I'm just going to keep talking anyway, seeing as that's what I did at the beginning anyway. Curious, you made it back. Everybody say hi to Curious. And like I said on Tuesday night, support this man because he's doing wonderful things. He is the guy that taught me how to do all this stuff with... he's going to have a fit when he sees my workshop compared to his. Wrong camera. I saw your video of the tour of your workshop, Curious, and it's beautiful, absolutely beautiful. So organized and well laid out. Mine just looks like a bomb went off, and this is it cleaned up for the video. But I was showing folks what I was working on, but I wouldn't have been working on any of it if Curious hadn't taught me how to write the code for all these stepper motors and everything. So support the man because he deserves it, and go watch his videos and learn something. That's what I do anyway. There you go. So good to have you. And let me see. Questions. I see questions. Tuesday, you told there was another way to use the Raynox 250 for sharp pictures. Can you explain more about the setup? Now, this is going to be a recurring problem because I can't remember if I told you about this before I discovered I was talking to myself or after. What I had said was use it. The trick is don't reverse it. Use the 250 in the forward orientation at the whatever extension you need to focus at infinity. Use your normal infinity space in front of that and put your microscope objective on the end, a Mitutoyo 5 or 10. What this does is it gives you corner-to-corner sharpness with the highest resolution you're probably ever going to see with your Mitutoyos. It's remarkable. That's the key here is don't reverse it. In fact, if you reverse it, the pictures look, it's very hard to focus it at all in reverse. But forward it works really well. Okay, do I use a lens hood on the 10x M plan to prevent light pollution and contrast issues? Sometimes. I always use it on the 20. I never use it on the 5. I don't always use it on the 10 because I don't always feel like I need it. In fact, every one of these Weevil nose pictures is 10x, and I did not use a hood. When I use a hood, I'm using an inverted cone, or I was using an inverted cone, but I've lost it. Bud made it for me on the 3D printer, and it was modeled on the ones that I made with the foam. But it really limits the amount of off-axis light that gets in the lens. You know, I am not sure just how big a difference it makes. It makes some difference. There's no doubt in my mind. It makes some difference some of the time, but it isn't a panacea, and it's not a solution for bad lighting. If your lighting is too intense or your direction is off, your diffusion is not good, no amount of lens hood is going to fix that. So you need to kind of work through a troubleshooting roadmap every time you notice a problem with your test shot. Figure it out. Is it where the lights are? Do you have enough diffusion? Or is it reflections back into the objective? Or internal reflections if you're not properly flocking your equipment. I found a microscope and I am going to buy it. But I need to buy it with your money. I'll talk about this at a later date. But it's in an auction, and it's I can't tell you the auction because somebody else will go buy it. It's a Zeiss upside down microscope. It's gigantic, and it was $200 is the bidding on it right now. It'll probably go higher than that. but I am so excited, and I don't have to drive to California to get it because it's nearby. So keep your fingers crossed, and yeah, that'll be great. Remember, without a microscope, there will be no diatoms series in the spring when they come back to life. No diatoms, no microscope. So bear that in mind. Did that answer your question, Eric? I hope so. Jim, you've been looking at a used Leica microscope. What for? For insect prep or for a compound scope? Let me know. Yes, you can connect a camera to my Leica, the MZ6 or the MZ6. It is an old microscope, but it is the most beautiful microscope I've ever looked through. It does have a big, cumbersome system for a photo tube. It's a big metal thing that has to attach above the focus mechanism, and you can put your camera on there just fine, and it works fine. I've been using it to take pictures since I got it. The problem is, because it's an old microscope, the MZ6, when I have the camera tube turned on, it takes all of the light from one eye. So what I ended up doing was getting a surgical beam splitter, which is what I used to use in the operating room, where I keep half the light to both eyes, so I can still have stereo vision, depth of vision, because that's what I was missing. And if you don't have that, and I'm trying to show you how to tease a weevil's antenna out of its face groove with a pin, it ain't happening. I mean, you can't even find the pin with one eye. So that's the trade-off. But after about the MZ6, almost every Leica stereoscope after that had a much better system for cameras. But they've never made a microscope that you couldn't put a camera on. So yeah, that's not your problem. I also was going to bid on a Leica microscope in this auction, but this was a fluorescence microscope that was it was a $20,000 microscope, and I needed a van to get it back from California. So I didn't get it, but they probably would have gone up from $50 anyway before I got it, so not to worry. Did I answer that one, Jim? I hope so. Get in touch with me if I didn't. And any of you guys that are Patreoners, if you don't get the answer you're looking for, hit me up at Patreon or on Discord, and I'll repeat it. Lee went into Lightroom, went to import, nothing in file I created. It's not in the file. The image is in a folder wherever you put your Lightroom folder, but remember that the contents of Lightroom does not include the images. The images are somewhere else. All Lightroom has is the record of the image and what you've done to it, and the edits and the thumbnail. So you need to do what I just suggested you do. Doesn't matter where you put it, it'll find it. If you go to, make sure you're on the right file, the right folder in Lightroom. Though, you know what? You might have hidden it from Lightroom. That's the thing. Whenever you save a picture outside of Lightroom and you specify where to put it, Lightroom doesn't know about it. The best rule of thumb is never move a picture unless you're in Lightroom. When you're using the Lightroom plugin and Xerine, just let Xerine put it where it wants to, because Lightroom will know and it will get it and it'll bring it back into Lightroom. If that doesn't make any sense to you, get in touch with me and I'll make a little teeny weeny mini video and show you how to do it, okay? Actually, what am I talking about? I've got a video that shows you how to do it in my Lightroom series, and in the slabbing video that I did on Xerine. So that's the way you do it. When you get the option to choose where to save it, just save it where it wants to go. and that's your safest bet. And then synchronize the folder. Alrighty. So we've covered the Raynox 250. UPS just dropped off Art's vertical Wii macro rail. Well, good. I can't wait to hear what you think about it. This will be very interesting then, Art. If you've got that, and Graham is finished with his vertical setup, that'll be a battle of the vertical setups. Graham, your prize, by the way, is en route. It has been en route for a week, so it should be there any day, which is fantastic. I can't wait to see what you do with it. That Graham won an EL Nikkor 50mm enlarger lens for winning the photo competition in December. Now, you can't tell me that that's a shabby prize. No, sir. And that's about as good as it gets, if you ask me. And yeah, we'll have more like it. So you need to enter. Do you know what the competition is this month? It's minerals. You take a picture of a mineral and you go over to www.macrocontest.com and give it to the robots. That's all you have to do. You can give them 2 if you like, and they'll get you to fill in the information. We'll look at it, and then I'll judge it. I talked to the other live stream about some modifications to the judging when I was still thinking about it. I thought about things like getting you guys to judge who wins, and then I thought, well, that will no way. I could just see all kinds of squabbles developing. So no, we're just going to keep doing it. The only possibility was I may, just one time to see how it goes, do it live without looking at the pictures. So do it live the first time I see the pictures. Oh dear, that would be a stressful hour or so. But I can do that. I'll do it once to see how it goes. If you want to, just let me know. By the way, Amy 5 told me the other day that I could make her a moderator for during these live streams, because we had somebody was putting adverts of some off-color service that was being provided somewhere in Eastern Europe, and she was going to take the ads off there, but yeah, I didn't know how to do it, but now I figured it out. Does anybody want to be a moderator here? Let me know. Let me know if you want to moderate, and I'll add your name to the thing. Yeah, I think that's how I do it. All right, where was I? Questions. Marty, thank you. If you're talking about me screwing up the live stream, yes, I've done it before. It's complicated, but yeah, lot of bells and whistles here to keep track of. And let me see. Hey, Chris, Staffordshire. What happens in Staffordshire? You make china, don't you? Is it china you make, or plates, or cutlery, something? Whatever it is, keep at it. Keep making it. I'm sure it's lovely. All right. So Stuart knows Chris. Well, there you go. How about that? Small world. Oh, Chris, yes. So you bought one of my bracelets. Does anybody know about my photographer's bracelets? I've got hundreds of them. I thought it would be a way to it was a kind of merchandise thing that I decided I'd just make them myself, and they're really nice. They're made of fine paracord. Oh heck, I don't have one. No, I don't have one handy right here. And they've got a little camera on them and a clasp. They're really nice, and they took me forever to make. It was like a month I was in a dungeon the whole time doing nothing but making these things, and I made them in the colors of the different camera brands, so that the Nikon one was the yellow and black, and Canon was red and white, and so on. I had about 3 different models. The heaviest one was the wide angle, and then the macro was the thinnest one, and they all they were a whole line of them, and then you could pick your camera. I think I had 11 camera brands and three models, and then whatever size you wanted. I made them to order. Yeah, I still got 1 million of them, and over on my website you can look at them. In fact, that's where you can see them. Go over to my website, because I did all the photography for that too. I fully anticipated I would get rich from doing that, and then I could retire. And I sold Chris one, and a few dozen others, and yeah, and then I forgot about them. But yeah, they're on the website still. Go buy one. That would be fantastic. I don't know what I'd do. I'd have to go get more customs forms from the post office. I got rid of all that stuff. I should give them away, shouldn't I? To people who join Patreon. Give them a pair of bracelets in their favorite camera choices. Yeah, all right, I'll do that. Join Patreon in the next, I don't know, day, week. I'll send you bracelets as a thank you. Thanks, Chris, for reminding me of that. Oh, dear. Let me see. Question from last week. How can I prevent eyes from collapsing on insects? Eric, that's a really good question. You can't prevent them. You can slow them down, and depending on the species, that is often as good as you can do. The smaller the insect, and generally speaking, by small I don't mean wingspan or anything, the smaller the volume of the insect. So mosquitoes are notoriously bad about this. The small insects dry out really quickly, and the eyes will collapse in minutes. So what I do for mosquitoes is I soak them for about 10 minutes in a solution of what is it? Glycerin and a surface acting agent. It's not decon. It's just a surfactant, and I'm blanking on it. But yes, it slows it slows down the process of the alcohol leaving the eyes. The other thing I do is I equilibrate the bug in water to flush out the alcohol, because the water evaporates more slowly. But really, once you take that mosquito out of the solution and get it dry on a pin, you have seconds until the eyes will collapse. Big house flies and stuff like that, you've got hours before the eyes will collapse, and oftentimes they won't collapse, they'll dry that way. If you've got eyes that are in really bad shape, covered in a thick layer of junk, I would soak them and gently agitate them in dilute Decon 90, and then go straight from there to the camera. That will do miracles. In fact, I need to do a video on Decon 90, because the more I try to do with it, the more impressed I am with it. I have never tried to use it for short-term, quick relaxation of appendages. It just works unlike anything else. But you've got to be very, very careful. If you've got a stiff forelimb on a weevil or something, and you really need to get it repositioned so it's out of the way of the eye or the snout, you dip the limb up to the joint that's stuck in Decon 90, and you just hold it there for about 60 seconds, then take it out and rinse it off. And it's limber after that. In just a minute, it's limber. The thing is, though, about 10 minutes later, it'll start to draw back up again visibly. So you have to relax it, pose it, shoot it as quickly as you can. But it does some amazing things. Fixes eyes, cleans up mouth parts, relaxes some really stiffened joints, and it's absolutely the bee's knees on weevil snouts. It gets the weevil snot out of the end of them because they're all full of weevil snot, which is just disgusting stuff. It's got wood chips in it. All right, so I think I answered that. Lee, you also found out that at the end of the stack, the finished print had cropped about 2 inches off the print, as in I had 3 little figures. Oh, okay. Yeah, what you have to remember is this, Lee, when the pictures, when you're looking at the pictures, they all look the same size. When Zerine looks at them one at a time, it is having to align them, and your camera is moving. So as your camera moves further away, the pictures are getting smaller. So it has to resize them, only you shoot in the other direction, right? So you're moving forward, the pictures are getting smaller, and it's starting with the furthest away picture. So as you're moving in, it is cropping the images to align on both sides. So by the time you get to the end of the stack, you've got a smaller image because it's as big as the last one. Sorry, the first one. So that's why you have to plan for it. When you're stacking, you need to look at the first image and how it's framed, but you need to look at the last image and how it's framed too, because by the time it's all finished, that antenna that is out of the frame in the last picture will not be in any of the pictures. So that's what it is. You just need to get used to that. The best thing to do is overdo the negative space when you're coming up with a composition for a stacked image. Leave yourself too much space. You can always refine that as you get better and cut the margin short. But you should see some of the ones I do. I leave loads of space. Let me see if there's one immediately ready to. Yeah, here's one. This is an example of thinking I had left enough space and discovering at the end that I hadn't, and I cut the end of the antenna off. This is, I've thrown away the originals, but believe me, this had clearance in the first picture. It had 2 inches on either side. So it's amazing how close I get to running out of space on a picture that there's bags of room at the beginning. So just be careful and use less magnification than you think you're going to need. These days with things like gigapixel, you can always make the picture a bit bigger if you want to. Was there anything else I wanted to show you? I think there might be. I wish I could find that other weevil nose, because it was just fascinating. I was going to tell a story about something I found on my desk, but I think we're out of time. No, we've got time. I was sitting here working yesterday, day before yesterday, and something green flashed from over by my post-it notes. And I couldn't actually see anything because my desk was so dirty that it could have been any of those fragments of detritus that was glinting. But eventually I saw it, and it looked like a small triangular shard of emerald. And I thought, well, I'll be, what is that, and where did it come from? So I did what any macro photographer would do, and I grabbed my camera and started taking pictures of it, and stuck it on the end of a pin and took it over to the rig to photograph. And yeah, this is what I found. It is a mummified head from an agapostemon bee. I thought for one horrible moment that it was the mummified head of my orchid bee. So I went running through to the other room, and no, he was still there intact in his little bottle. But this was a Hannibal Lecter face mask from a little green bee. And you've never seen anything so shiny and green. I forgot to download the pictures off my camera, but I shot it with a D850 and a macro lens as soon as I realized what it was, while it was still on the desk. And I'll put those pictures up on Discord and in Patreon. Anyway, it was oh, there's the nose. Yeah, but I won't find. There it is. Yeah. So this is the other nose that the other Weevil nose I did in the minutes before this video live stream started. You'll remember the first one I showed you. It had two scrapers that came out the end of its nose and did this to scrape food back into its mouth hole. This, on the other hand, appears to have something fairly similar, but they're touching in the midline, which they weren't on the other. So these are presumably, sorry, you can't see it, these are presumably something like snippers. Who knows? The problem is, of course, that they're oh dear, I think I may have messed that up. Yeah, they are not living when I'm photographing them, so I can't really tell what they do, and sometimes it's hard to get them to move naturally. You kind of make an artificial movement, but these are great. Photograph Weevil snouts, you'll love it. The place I get them, the best place for Weevils is Insect Trade EU. Very affordable. Get the scientific lots. You can get, you know, a bag of 80 Weevils for next to nothing. Well, no, not next to nothing. It definitely costs money. Did I show you this site last time? I think I did. I'm going to show it to you again very quickly. I may have already shown you this, in which case bear with me. But if you search for Insect Trade EU, and then they've got a lovely website where everything's split up by family, and it's beetles I always go to, but they've got a fantastic selection of Weevils, but also one of the best selections of tiger beetles anywhere. And they have scientific lots for all of these. But under the Weevils, they've got like 40 pages, 50 pages of Weevils. And if you go to the second half is usually where the scientific lots are. This is what you find. So you could get 40, and they're all different. So 40 different species of Weevils. Are you kidding me? For whatever dollars that was. Of course, they're sold out of a lot of them. You have to go to the ones that they actually have. But there isn't a deal better than this. Some of them will arrive with their heads off, and you won't know what any of them are because they haven't been identified. But I ordered 2 or 3 of these packets, and I just photographed the last one I had. I have been on a Weevil photographing frenzy here of late. So yeah, if you haven't tried this place, whatever your favorite thing to photograph is, they'll have loads of them. Look at this. 24 Weevils for $24. Look at these. These are beauties. All kinds of different species too. Yeah. Be warned though. I did order. I ordered one from here. I think it was from this place. Yeah. And I didn't look closely at the size of it. And it's as big as my foot. It's the biggest. It's a bamboo Weevil. You know, it's just gigantic, and it stinks to high heaven. So yeah, I like small Weevils. They're cute. All right, let me get back to the questions so as I don't run out of time. I'm still smarting about that rocky start today. I thought I was over all of those rocky starts with these things. So I hope that answered your question. Who asked me? Lee asked me that question. Question from Photographer85. How are you, Photographer85? I reviewed the Godox MF12 speedlights. Do you use any other speedlights as well? Yes, I do. I use the MF12s almost exclusively, but I also have the TT350s, and I think every other speedlight that Godox makes from the TT600s forwards. Yeah. So yes, I use a lot of Godox speed lights. I've got Nuo. I've got a couple of them. I've got a Nikon flash and a couple of no name brands. But when it comes to consistent, low power, multiple light flashes, which is all I do, it's the MF12s, because that is the only way I can get the number of light sources that I need are surrounding my subject to get that soft, even wall of light that I'm looking for. So yeah, I swear by them, and you know, I haven't had the best of luck with them. I've had two of them go to that great flash repository in the sky. And didn't drop them or anything. They just, the flash tubes went out on them. Of course, I was using them all day, every day for 6 months. So there's that. They're not forever. But I will say this, that the batteries are holding up remarkably well. I cannot actually tell that there's a significant degradation in how long they hold their own with deep stacks. I mean, and I do still take pictures every day, so I mean, they're constantly flashing. So yeah, I recommend them highly. Though, you know what, the Adorama ones, that's what I'll buy from now on. They've been rebranded by Adorama Flashpoint, and they're 20% less. Same exact flashes, I feel sure. So yeah, that's definitely the way to go. So the answer to your question is, yeah, they really are the only ones I use most of the time. Robert, greetings from Ocala. I'm sorry, I just saw your name down here. By the way, everybody, it was Robert that donated the EL Nikkor 50mm f2.8 that was won as the first prize in the photography competition. So by all means, thank the man for his generosity. That was so nice to be able to give away such a cool prize. So thank you, Robert. Decon 90, good for bees' knees. Yes, it's good for bees' knees, bees' eyes, bees anything. It's good for just about everything, but be careful with it. You put some of the stuff I photograph in pure decon, it'll dissolve. That stuff's got quite a high pH. It's a bit lye-like. Okay, let me see. Am I missing anything? Manual focus. Switch on the lens. What do I... Oh dear. That's... I don't know what that question is. Is the surfactant you use SLSA? Yes, it is. It's not SLSA. It's another really common surfactant. I can't remember. Sodium. Oh, that's sodium lauryl sulfate. That's what you're asking. Yes. Okay. So it is that. Okay. So you were right, and I was confused. Mindorgus Lilungwa. Whose legs look weird? I don't know whose legs you're talking about. You are not talking about my Weevil's legs. How dare you? I want to show you my Weevil. Do I have time, or are we out of time? I fear that we may be soon running out, but I'm going to stick around like I said. This is my favourite Weevil of last year. It's the same one whose nose I was looking at And I think that this is the one whose legs you said look funny. Were you talking about this one, Mr. Lingula? I spend hours putting them in these positions. This is deliberate. This is a tap dancing weevil right here. Yeah. None of this is left to chance. Like this is my galloping weevil. It's a bit dark, isn't it? Anyway, that's what I do for fun when I'm not doing this for fun. And if you don't like my weevil, I'm going to set my ant on you. That is not that ant's eating a fly right there, and he looks like he means business. Oh, dearie me. Let me see if there's any other questions that I need to get to. I'm sure there are. There always are. Questions are good. It was Robert that directed me to this fantastic auction site that I'm not going to tell you the name of until I've got my microscope. Then you can go look at it. It's called Public Auction. Is it Public Auction? Public Surplus, something like that. I'm sure Robert will put it in the notes. But anyway, it's a wonderful, wonderful site. I don't know if you have them in the UK. Probably not. Let me see. Where were we? Chris, out of interest and as a newbie, who is the most well-known, best super macro photographer? Ugh. It would depend. It would depend on a lot of things. Not the least of which would be your taste. No, I'm not gonna put myself on the spot with that. What I will do is this. I will write an article, maybe this afternoon before I go on vacation, and I will list my top 10 favorite extreme macro. Now, by that I mean people who mostly photograph in the studio. But everybody's different. Like Levon Biss, for example, is probably one of my favorite for ridiculously high resolution stack and stitch type shots. But not many people do that, so you're not really comparing him to a lot of other folks. And there are people who do handheld stuff, and yeah, it would be very hard for me to say, but I will write it down after I've had a chance to think through and give you a proper answer, and then you can go look at these people and you'll see exactly what I'm talking about. I have talked to a lot of these people on this channel before, so that's another thing that you can go back and look at their work and see for yourself. They specialize too. I mean, there are people who just photograph fungus, like Steve Axford is one of the best in the world. Yeah, I could go on. That you pulled my string on that one. All right, macro table is nearly done. Waiting for your TT600. Funny you should mention that one. I bought 2 of the 2 light sets back when they first came out, and none of them work anymore. They were not reliable, but I have a feeling they probably have made them better after they sold me 4. Yeah, let me know how they go. Yeah, you definitely need to get in the competition. It doesn't matter if you've only ever taken 1 picture. Get in the competition, because it's good fun, and if you're in it, you'll want to see. Oh, there is something I'm going to do different in the competition. I'll mention this now. I am going to hide the entries from one another. Yeah. That's the way it should be. It's the way it should have been in the first place. I don't want you to see who the competition is. I don't want you to look at one of Graham's pictures and say, well, I'm not entering. What's the point of that? That's what I would say. No, you don't know who's entered, and you don't know what they've turned in. And that way, yeah, enter, and you'll be amazed. I have the strangest the way I look at photographs. You might win. You might win. You never know. But you got to try. You've got to try. It's going to be so good for your development if you're new. If you're old, it's a great way to, not old if you're an old person, I mean if you're old at macro, it's a wonderful way to help newcomers because we talk about everything about the photograph in the video. So, I mean, any little thing that you're doing right is going to get mentioned. I love doing that. I really do. It's fantastic. Well, let me know how those flashes go, photographer 85, because they are a good bargain right now, those 600s. Lee's got a question. Got the Nisi focus rail. How do I find out how much to turn the arm? Well, the arm, the knob at the business end has a pitch of, oh gosh, I think it's a millimeter and a half. So a full turn moves the carriage that far. But you can find that on their website, on Nisi's website, and that'll tell you the pitch. And I did all the calculations in my video. It'll tell you what the pitch is and how far you have to turn it to move. Well, in my case, I showed you how you can move it as little as 10 microns. But it's not very exact. But yeah, if Lee, if you can't find it from either of those places, let me know. All right. Is that a question, Lee? This macro stuff is very hard. Yes, this macro stuff is very hard. That's why most of us love it. It's challenging, and it makes those good photographs just worth their weight in gold. It is challenging. There's a lot you need to do. It can be frustrating as all get out. I remember when I first got started, I wondered what madness had come over me to spend that amount of time for nothing, because I'd go days without a picture I'd ever show anybody. I threw them all away in disgust. I still do throw most of them away in disgust. Yeah, it's a game of microns. I mean, you've just when you think you've got it too, it'll vanish in a puff of smoke. Practice, practice, practice. It's all about light. It's all about light. If you get the lighting right, you can make mistakes all over the place in composition, and you can have a little bit of movement in there, and it'll still look good if you get the light right. That is, I hope, not somebody calling to say you can't hear me anymore. Robbie, you're asking if it's actually live. Yes, I just hadn't got to your question yet. I'm sorry. It's I'm going as fast as I can. Yep. So let me see. Who did I miss? Lodger, Solbach. Please show the screen. What screen? What screen do you want to see? Chris agrees with me that it is hard. Chris says if it was easy, landscape photographers would do it. There you go. That's it. All right. Let me see. Stephen, good to have you with us. Do you have a full frame cover with the 10x on the Raynox 250 at 100? Yes, just. Yeah, actually, you know what? There might be a little tiny bit of vignetting, but with a black background, it would be hard to spot. That of course is why I usually use the ITL 200 as my relay lens of choice. But yeah, I think that you're gonna find you get good coverage at 100. But let me know if you don't. All right. Robbie, what made you think I wasn't alive? Is there was oddness at the beginning of this thing because for some reason the stream wasn't going out, but I think it's working now. All right. Have you seen the modification Samuel Bond did to his Nisi rail on Discover, the Focus-O-Matic? No, I didn't, but I've seen my own modification to it. I've done a lot with mine. I've motorized mine actually since I did the video on it, and I didn't show it frankly because it's rubbish. The thing has it's a pretty good manual rail, but it has too much lateral backlash to use it with a motor for me. You'd have to replace the supports with real bearings, I think. I don't know. I'm really thinking that the way to go is Graham's setup in the UK. Graham has built this just remarkable pusher device that moves the camera along without being dependent on a rail itself. And he's basically eliminated vibration. And yeah, it's something I'm seriously considering trying. He uses linear bearings. Okay, I will go over there on Discord and take a look at it. Somebody posted it on my Discord. Okay, good. I'll look over there. Well, good. Chris. That is what I love about this thing. Twice a week is I get enthused about my macro when I come on here. I mean, I always am ready to go take pictures after the live stream. So I really, really want to encourage everybody to get out there, take pictures as the weather gets nicer wherever you are, and start posting them. Share them on Discord. I'll bring them here. I'll bring them to live stream. We can do some stuff during the live stream where we pick out a few of your pictures and look at them. And I promise I won't do anything negative, like laugh at them, unless Steve the librarian shows up. That'll be different. You'll understand. Chris, you keep carnivorous plants, pitcher plants. I live about a mile from one of the biggest pitcher plant bogs I've ever seen. They're just thick on the ground everywhere, and very snaky too. So you grow those, and you have a Sony A6000 and a Sigma 90. Yeah. Take pictures of them. I have a whole series of pictures of dead flies in the bottom of pitcher plants. I don't know why I thought that was an interesting thing to photograph, but I did. Do you have a source for small amounts of Decon 90? No. Robbie, I will get in touch with me. Get in touch with me through the usual channels, and I will send you some. I was given a liter of the stuff by Allan, and I split it up into 100cc bottles, and I gave them to all my friends who wanted to do that. So I've got enough left to send you some. So get in touch with me, and I'll send it to you. If anybody else wants to, I'm going to need to get a new bottle, and I will order a liter and then split that up again. So why don't you... I can't do it to Europe, though. It has to be It has to be in the US. So if anybody wants to do that, let me know at the next session and see if you can round up half a dozen people to go in with you. It is expensive, but it is well worth it. And yeah. Oh, you couldn't see the Weevil pictures. Gosh, I am sorry, Ludger. It's let me fix that by getting me off of here. This will only take a second. I was so discombobulated by the start to this whole thing that yeah, I'm not firing on all cylinders. I was showing these pictures of the same Weevil from a lot of different poses that I did. And the tap dancing Weevil, if I didn't show that one, that's this guy. It's actually the one that's on the Macro Talk cover art. And there's just, I've got Weevils just everywhere. And this was my main Weevil. My favorite Weevil of the year. That was my, that's actually my favorite photograph of 2022. It's the galloping Weevil. And that looks really good on a big print too. So that's what I was showing. So I'm sorry it didn't show up on the screen. My bad. Okay, let me see. I think I've covered everything. Any advice to increase Instagram followers? No, none whatsoever. Do I have any? I don't know. I keep forgetting to go over there and post anything. I think the last thing I posted was maybe 6 months ago. So I have no idea how you get people to follow you on Instagram. It's a full-time job for me to not upset everybody on YouTube. So I don't know. Maybe that's something that I'm going to need to refocus on, but I've been too busy making videos. All right. Oh, I see what you thought it was a redo of an older live stream. No, this is an actual live one today. Tuesdays at 8 o'clock Central Time in the US is my US live stream. The European one is at 2 p.m. On Thursdays, which is 8 p.m. in London or thereabouts. So it's going to be both those days from now until the end of time. Ooh, you have to make a video on your motorization. Doesn't matter whether it's rubbish or not. Well, it is rubbish, and I will do it. I will do that. What I didn't show you at the beginning of this video, I didn't go through it all again, was I am making a multiple axis positioning system with a microscope and some stepper motors this afternoon. And if it's worth anything at all, I'll and if Curious will help me write the code for it, then yeah, I'll share a video of that. Patrick, I have made a video and a list of all of my chemistry. It's 3 or 4 pages long. It's called Patrick, I will find it, and I'll put it in the description or in the comments. I will link the video, and it is a PDF of every chemical that I use, okay, and why I use it, where you can get it, everything. In fact, I wonder if I can find it. No, I can't find it that quickly and get a link up. The link will be in the video description at the end, and it is the end. So I am going to say thank you to everyone. You're just looking at my desktop still. I'm sorry. Gee willikers. I need what I need is somebody, a producer, to sit at the other end of the table and get all of this stuff done so I can remember what camera is turned on. Look, guys, I'm going to call it quits here. I'm going to do all the things I said I'd do and put the notes in the in the program description. I will be back next Thursday, and I don't know what's going to be coming up in the meantime, but if you're around on Tuesday, then pop in on Tuesday to the live stream. I know you European folks won't, because that's at 4 o'clock in the morning, but the rest of you, hopefully I'll see you on Tuesday. Let me make absolutely sure if I missed any questions here at the very end, I'll answer them in the notes. So take care, everybody. Thanks, and I do apologize for that stupidity at the beginning of the thing. I don't know what I did wrong, but I'll try not to do it again. Take care and be well, everybody. I'll see you next time. Good day.